How much chips do I have in my beard?
How many chips? I see a couple. There's a bird. There's like there's a baby bird.
You know what's funny? I wanted those little sugar gliders.
Yeah.
I was like, I should have let my beard grow long enough because they're real. Like they want to be close to you. I was like, I could let it live in my beard. And I'd probably take poo in my beard too. So
Wasn't that a character in The Hobbit?
Josh could have one living in his hair and nobody would know.
When I went to the airport, they patted my hair down. Like, let me check your hair. And I'm like, are you for real?
When? I don't want to hear it. Anybody with hair like that?
I wish I could get my hair patted down one more time.
It's all gone. I got a haircut yesterday and I was like, it's over. It's done. This guy we had lunch today, he's like, first time I met you, I had a mohawk. I was like, yeah, those days are over.
Those days are long gone. My mohawk days are over. Yeah, but that was a character in The Hobbit, right? It was like one of night.
Oh, that Radagast?
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of.
That was so gross. Why did they have to have him with bird poo running down his face? Like,
see, I don't remember that detail, but that's
all I could see. It was like having a big pizza stuck on your chest. Like, it'd be like, hey, Ryan, you got something on your chest. Like, what? It's a whole pizza, bro. You ain't seen it? No. Where is it?
You use the restroom.
Go for it. Yeah. That movie came out.
Hey, we're in the middle of a podcast. You can't just get up and go to the restroom.
Right now?
Yeah. Oh. What's wrong with you, bro?
You can do whatever you want. Oh, man. You always got to haze the new guy. That is funny, though. We did start.
Yeah, he doesn't know, so we can just keep doing it the whole time. Man, what an amateur wife. Why are you on here? I forgot.
So what's new? The last one we did was last week, right?
I don't know how to eat chips.
That was last week?
Was?
Okay, yeah. What's changed in your life from last week to this week?
I got a haircut.
Man, that's big. Big news. Breaking news. Jason Knight gets a
Breaking
haircut.
news. Yeah, but I got a beard trim. So my goal is to make it go like, looks like it's already starting to see how it's going to. Whoop,
Yeah, you want to be more wavy.
It's going to go like this.
Okay. Yeah,
When I was a kid, these kids had the coolest little thing they would do to their hair. They had this real thick brush and they would brush it and it would like have waves in it. I didn't have hair like that, but I thought it was like, that's cool. And then hair like Josh is cool. I never had hair like that. Mine was just straight. I just shake it and fall down.
Interesting.
But I could grow a beard when I was 12.
I had a dirt stash, just like a shadow of hair.
Pretty funny.
Now I'm getting into the facial hair phase finally. It's taken me all my life.
Well, you're 15. It'll be all right. By the time you're 16, it'll be totally you. I'm sorry. That was wrong.
I'm
I
only
was like,
15.
sometimes I make wrong jokes. And
Hey, that's okay.
I don't feel bad about it, but I just want to apologize anyway.
That's okay. I don't feel
So
bad.
does that mean it's an unsympathetic apology?
Absolutely.
I do, like, I was a joke. You can do it back to me.
Oh, no
And
worries.
do it when I least expect it. When you be like, this will really get him. And I'll be like, I have to just handle it, I have to hang with it.
So in the time from our last podcast, you have gotten a haircut. That is the most exciting thing that's happened in your life.
I don't remember what else we did. Well,
You mean the life of a master bladesmith is not fires and slaying dragons and magic
there's only 2
crystal
dragons, bro.
balls?
2 dragons is not enough to talk about in 1 week. I'm just saying.
I like that. Stay humble.
Yeah,
keep
I don't
yourself
want to go
level.
bragging about it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, other people did more important things.
Like what?
I don't really know. I haven't been paying attention. So, some things I don't do. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I don't care about the, what is the beer virus that's going on?
The Modelo virus.
The Modelo
virus, whatever. I don't really care. I'm sure it is important. Man, there's a TV on. There's a really cool snake on there. But that's not what we're here to talk about.
This is very entertaining radio.
No, we're going to show this one, though, right?
Yeah.
When are we going to start showing them, like, live? You can watch the podcast live.
Whenever we feel
Whenever we get together.
comfortable that we're
Let's
not
do this
going
one.
to tear
So
down the small
today,
government.
we're at the Model City Tap House,
Boom.
which is a cool spot.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Yeah, they could at least give us free beer, right?
I'll talk to Will about it. See you, Nikisha. Have a good day.
Nikisha.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, you're... All right, so Josh, who are you? What are you doing here?
My name is Joshua. I'm from California, Santa Barbara.
Oh, nice.
I'm out here hanging out with the Knight family,
California.
just to have a good time.
No,
Yeah.
were you out at the Blade Show in Portland?
I did go to Portland.
Nice.
It was my second Blade show I've attended. It was something. It was a little bigger than the year before, so it was
Yeah,
nice.
you met Joshua.
No, I wasn't there. I wasn't at Blade Show. I wasn't
No,
in
that was
Portland.
I met Heath.
There was Heath.
Oh,
and,
that old Heath. He was
oh,
a doppelganger for you that time.
Yep. Yeah.
For some reason, why did I think you were there? I
Don't
know.
talk too much trash about Heath because he's going to be the one editing the podcast.
Oh, that guy.
He'll get me.
We won't
Yeah, I
say
was in New
much.
York whenever you guys were in Portland. So it was
Oh, that's right.
Heath, Travis, and Lauren. They were from our team that were out there. So, but Blade Show in June, I will be there for that.
We're gonna have fun. Blade Show in June is gonna be great. We're gonna bring our crew. We're gonna bring several cameras, and we'll be doing live feeds and podcasting.
They're going to get tired of us.
Yeah,
at
I want
Blade
to
Show.
call it something else besides the podcast.
Podcasting?
Well, I guess we're stuck on that now.
Well, no, not really. But it is kind of like a car is called a car, you know.
You're
It's
right.
kinda-
It is a
kinda
car.
stable.
It could be a specific car. So this is the Porsche of cars. And
There
to
you
translate this over to podcasts,
Yeah.
I really, you know what I wanted it to be? I want to be like a cross between Joe Rogan and Coast to Coast AM.
Oh, perfect.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Like this, we could say crazy stuff and talk about whatever we want to.
Yeah, which I think we do a pretty good job of that.
Knowledge and entertainment.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it.
Yeah, one of the things I asked him on the last podcast, which you haven't been able to see because it just went live, was I asked Jason what time frame he was really born in, and he wouldn't really delve too deep into that secret because he doesn't want to reveal his identity as a time traveler.
I think it's funny. So we used to have this thing, you know, people in the knife making community, bladesmiths, knife makers, you call up people, you're like, hey, what's up? What are you working on? Oh, just knives. It's the same boring old blah, 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 blah. You know?
Right.
Like, what are you working on? I've been working on a gravity condenser. And they're like, whoa, bro, what is a gravity condenser? You make Damascus with that? I was like, that's for folding space, actually. You know?
And they hang up on you and call
And
the
they,
NSA.
I know.
yeah,
right?
and they'd be like, hey, something's wrong with Jason. They're gonna be like, oh. And then they'd be like, what are you working on? I'd be like, I gotta have the quantum navigator calculated back. You know, it's got to be calibrated because it's not the gravity condenser, and they're not working together. So I'm having some problems.
It makes a lot of sense.
They're like, what? Like, well, my index finger is now my middle finger, and now I gotta fix that because that's
Yeah.
gonna, you know, I'm gonna be like a Picasso
Yeah.
person.
That's what happens when you buy
afterwards.
cheap parts, you know?
Well, yeah.
You gotta get quality
You have
stuff.
to use platinum and gold instead. You can't use copper and silver. It doesn't work. Platinum and gold only inside the quantum navigator.
That makes a lot of sense.
Now, in the gravity condenser, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, because it kind of flips everything around anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that leads great into the current conspiracy theory about Jason Knight and your ability to read minds and control people.
I knew you were going to ask that question.
Yep. I'm serious. There's like a whole subreddit dedicated.
Really?
Yes, just dedicated to
On Reddit?
Yeah, dedicated to Jason Knight's telekinetic powers.
That is hilarious.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's not false information.
That is great.
But you don't have to divulge any information that's compromising to your identity.
There's a lot of things that I'm just not really allowed to share.
That makes a lot of sense.
Oh Lord.
DMT is a sharpening stone also. I like when we did that video, someone was like, so I assume you're just going to sharpen one side. I think it's assume, huh? You assume. Keep on doing that. It's gotten you this far in life. Continue assuming. You know?
Got
man.
Like if you're gonna keep assuming, just assume about everything. Just keep on making assumptions.
Yeah.
Don't test any of those things. Just keep assuming.
Yeah.
I watched this picture, so I assume the wrong thing. See, if I look at a picture, I begin to assume the right thing. Like, oh, I learned a lot about grinding looking at photos of other knife makers grinding.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird because back in those days they didn't have, a lot of people weren't doing this. You know, right now, even now, I don't know. I mean, there's knife podcasts.
Right.
There's a lot of guys YouTubing, and that's great. You know, we all have a good community, and we hope to interview more I'm not going to be called a YouTuber, period.
Don't do it.
Noted.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're going to be us.
Well, it's the same thing. You're the Porsche of YouTubers. Let's just go with that one.
Porsche.
The Porsche.
It's not Porsche, it's Porsche.
Yeah.
Just so you
Yeah,
know.
I'm clear. Don't you worry. I don't know much about cars. But
I know that they have 4 wheels and no, they actually have 5. And there's another wheel you drive with.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? You have 1 wheel to drive all the other wheels
That's a
with.
good point. That's a good way to look at it. It's like the master wheel.
The master
Makes
wheel.
all
Master
the
wheel.
decisions.
This is like the thing that people start to say, all right, get to whatever the heck y'all are talking about.
This
Like,
is what we're talking about.
yeah, this is it.
This
So
is if
there
you're
was
looking for something deeper.
I was looking
you're in
at
the
it
wrong
Not the
spot.
wrong spot.
the commentary on the last podcast about the craft beer was a trend.
Yeah, I saw that.
And go say that to Sierra Nevada, I guess.
Yeah, they transcended that trend.
The first one I ever had was Anchor Steam.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
I don't know where it's from, but I think it's from San Diego or San Francisco. It's called Anchor Steam. It was the first craft beer I had. Second one I can remember was Saranac. I remember me and my friend Damon Jackson is the name.
Nice.
We were going to Trident Tech, and I remember we had a class together. I was like, hey, what do you think about us not going to that English class and then going across the street to Backstreet Deli? And we would make all these jokes because all these beers were kind of new then, you know,
Yeah.
and it was like, it wasn't Bud Red or Bud, it was like, they had one, I can't remember what it was called, Black and Voodoo Lager, and it was like 7%. Then we would make jokes. We're like, this one comes as a 6-pack and it comes with a crutch and stuff like that. So we would go over there and we'd drink 1 or 2 beers and then we'd go back to class. And that didn't work out real well.
I've done that before too. Going to class after a couple beers and you never get it.
Just doesn't work.
No, you don't get anything.
Soon after, Damon joined the Army with all the rest of our friends. I did not.
I did
I
not.
continue to be a starving artist.
Yeah, now we're here.
Now
in
we're
the
here.
Model City Tap House, not a sponsor.
Yeah. Is that what we're gonna say? Like, brought to you by, I don't know who made this beer, but they're not a sponsor either.
Brought to you by we made this beer this morning because we're our own sponsor. You pay us, you get your name mentioned.
That's a fun thing. Yeah.
So one of your videos on YouTube is about to hit the 100,000 mark.
Good subject.
You know
That's
which one
the
it is?
forging
Yeah.
with just by hand hammer. So here's what we want to do, and we're gonna film this next week. Oh man, how do I phrase this without saying what it is?
Which one are you talking about? The timed thing?
Yeah, we're gonna do a timed forging
Challenge.
challenge.
Yeah.
So there's one, a lot of people will do a 3-hour challenge on forging the blade and heat treating, and then they'll do a 3-hour challenge on finishing it.
Yeah.
But we're just going to do a 4-hour all together. So within 4 hours, I'm going to forge, I'm going to design, forge, grind, and finish. I'll heat treat it too. I have an old school trick to do that. The heat treating is hardening and tempering. So I'm actually going to even temper it in that little short time. And the materials, we have different little groups of materials, but I don't know who gets to choose those. Maybe you get to choose them or someone.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And you're basically just going to drop that. You have to use this, this, and this. And then I'm gonna make, and it has to be badass. It can't be
Basic.
lame or basic or halfway done or
Yeah.
gnarly or like, oh, like something I would say.
That's all right.
Hey, what I like about your knife is it has a point and a purple handle.
Here's the best phrase for that. Well, it's ambitious.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it's quite ambitious,
Yeah.
actually.
We tried.
That's like with movies. It's
Yeah.
like that if a critic watches a movie and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, you can say one thing. It was definitely ambitious."
Yeah. At least you have the guts to show up here and in front of 3 million people to attempt such an ambitious venture.
Yeah. Well, I think that's going to be cool because people want to, like, there's a lot of mystical elements about what you guys do, and a lot of people don't share the ideas in the way that we are, and we're not even fully sharing the ideas like we could because
Right.
there's information that it's building blocks, right? Like you need to learn some things in succession
That's
before
right.
you can start taking on.
There's definitely some secrecy,
Yeah,
like holding on to certain tips and tricks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't do it. I mean, it's when you're ready for it, really. One of the things I think is funny, a lot of the bladesmiths will say, well, you don't need to learn how to make Damascus until you, they would say, pass your journeyman's method. And I totally disagree with that. I think you need to learn how to forge weld right off the kick.
Okay.
Right at the cusp, learn how to forge weld.
We get a lot of questions about that.
Yeah, what it allows you to do is you can take a lot of different things, stick them together, and make a blade out of it. I mean, we would hear, there was all this mythology I heard about when I first started forging blades and doing blacksmithing, ironsmithing, metalsmithing, steelsmithing, all these things. We just say that because the metals oxidize and turn dark, black, and that's cool. That's really cool. That was like, really steel was more valuable in the ancient world than precious metals in some cases if you had someone who could do it. The point being is learning how to forge weld right off the cusp is going to help any bladesmith get better at their art. Get there. And I'm going to keep calling it art. And I want people to really put a couple things together too. In the knife making too, we see new makers pop up, or we see someone, we go, you've heard this before in sports or music or anything. That word potential is like an engine with no transmission.
Yeah.
And I always like, you better put some ass on that potential and start, put it into gear and make it roll, because one thing doesn't work.
Yeah.
So all the potential, all the passion, that's worthless unless you put some, you got to put some torque to it to make it fly. So one of the reasons that Josh came here, besides letting us throw him under the bus and poke fun at him the whole time, is because Josh has taken more classes with me than anyone else.
Wow.
Josh has become a friend of our family. He's brought his girlfriend Ollie in.
That's fun, man.
I want to say his girlfriend Oliver.
Oh man, let's not do that. I'll never hear the end of it.
Well, you can
Olivia.
say it.
It's Olivia, but he calls her Ollie, so we started calling her Ollie too.
Nice.
So they're the girls are back at the studio forging integrals.
Nice.
And
So how many classes have you taken?
I've taken four classes.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, it's been great.
Now, Josh, let's go back a little bit in time. Now, how long have you been a hair farmer, technically, like farming on that hair?
That is an excellent question.
You get the new position, because David Mirabla used to be the person we called hair farmer, but now you will, when you go to shows, everybody's going to start going, and I'm going to have him come up and like, you'll win the congratulatory, hey, you're the new hair farmer.
This all started way back in November of 2019.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
20. Yeah.
Wait, that's not that far.
No.
I would never.
This is the longest I've ever had it.
I like it. Yeah, you look a lot like Mr. Tumnus from Chronicles of Narnia. How often do you hear that?
I hear that I look like a villain every other day.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I look like a villain.
You look more like a villain, yeah.
If you do this, you got to do muhaha.
Pinky up.
It was funny that you said you're going to keep calling this art, because when I was going through all the verification processes for uploading the podcast to different channels, you have to pick a category.
Yeah.
And there's like entertainment, business, movies, all these things, and under art there was about 8 different subsets, and there was visual and functional art, and I was like, oh, that's nothing better.
Man, are they gonna kill us for
It's a great category.
because we can overhear that music?
No,
All right.
that's good, because we're talking over it.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We're in a
I think art's a perfect word because it's self-expression.
Right.
Yeah.
You express yourself through your work.
I want this to be accepted as art.
Yeah.
At any level, really. Like just the process of the forging process, that is an art to forging it. It's like crafting an email really is an art.
That's tough.
Well,
I mean, it's really,
It
really
is.
difficult. You know what's weird to me when people send me a text message, I'm like, that should have been an email, bro. And then I would have never read it, of course.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say.
I've been emailing you for years. I'm like, well, I can't read emails.
The best way to get to Jason Knight by contacting him is to send a carrier pigeon. And on the way, the carrier pigeon gets intercepted by a hawk that has the Jason Knight brand attached around its neck.
Yeah.
That hawk then delivers it to Tristan,
me.
and then Tristan takes it to Tiger Lily. Tiger Lily takes it to Shelly, and then Shelly delivers it to Jason.
And then I leave it
When she's
underneath the truck seat.
deciphered it, huh?
Yeah. And then he looks at it and says, "Oh yeah, cool."
The best way, yeah, I say that a lot. Sometimes, it's like I look at it. I just want people to know I at least looked at it. I looked at it, I read it, cool. Really the best way, if you really want to send me a message and show me you care, do an animated comic book with more pictures than writing.
I like it.
And I will respond instantly. Like, as soon as you get that comic book laid out, I like it to be about at least 50 pages, you know what I'm saying? And I will respond to you and say, I will call you on the phone. Make sure you have your phone number. But if you do me a comic book, send it to me.
You want a visual thesis.
I like a visual thesis.
Yeah, I like
And
it.
I
will
want
say,
references. I want your artist's influence referenced in the back page. I'll be
in the index.
in the index.
I will say though, you are
Indices.
It's crazy how many Instagram messages that you actually respond to. It blows my mind. You respond to almost everybody.
What else are you gonna do when you're drinking coffee in the morning?
You respond to almost everybody. It blows my mind. I don't have 400 followers, and I don't respond to a lot of them, and they're like my sister.
Yeah, right.
Your sister.
Well, that was something I was blown away about the first class that I went to, just the communication process,
Really?
And I know Shelly takes a big part of that, and Jason, but there was no, well, what's next?
Right.
It was always it's
laid
laid
out.
out for you.
Always laid out.
Well, something that Josh, what's kind of cool is, from that first class, you've built a shop
Yeah.
and you started to teach yourself how to make folders.
Yeah.
Cool.
You should get Tarzola's book on folder making.
I'll try that out. Man.
I'll introduce you to him at Blade Show. He's cool.
That'd be great.
He's
Oh,
like
Blade's
the
just
grandfather of tactical folding knives.
Nice.
He's a cool guy too.
I'd love that, man.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Another cool guy, Michael Walker. I met
Okay.
him for the first time at the Tactical Invitational. We
That was
went to
just
that.
last
Yeah.
week, right? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, we went with Alicia. That was fun.
Where was that?
In Nashville.
Oh yeah,
KD.
KB.
KB. And we
I
listened
didn't
to
realize
some
you guys
music.
went to Nashville for a purpose. I thought you guys just went to go hang.
Yeah, we went for fun.
Did you go
And
see
Is that with Jeremiah?
you get-
Jeremiah?
yeah, did see
Yeah.
Jeremiah Nave? Yeah, Jeremiah
Yeah.
Nave is a local to our area, but transplant to Nashville, recording sound engineer. He has a. Did you see his? You guys go to his studio?
So cool.
He's got just.
He's got a lot of cool
it's like
musical
Willy
instruments.
Wonka's playhouse for
Yeah, man.
musical,
Yep.
just proteges. Like he has these weird little cowbells and those little Chinese dolls, and you can make. It's so
More
weird.
cowbell.
Yeah.
He's got the cowbell in there that Christopher Walken used on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He wouldn't let me touch it though.
No, he stole it from 30 Rock in New York City.
Probably did.
Yep. He's a sneaky one, that Jeremiah Nave.
Jeremiah Nave.
Yep. Jeremiah Nave was an integral part in the Forged Maker series that we put together.
That's
He was
right.
Our,
Great series.
Thank you. I appreciate
great
it.
series.
He was our director, sound engineer. He was the captain of the ship. It was fun. It was a good time. It was a long 3 days though.
That was the guy I kept making clean the bathroom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was wrong. I didn't realize he was the director
Yeah.
until he was telling me what to do, and I'm just like, why is this dude telling me what to do? Okay, I'll do it.
But he's a humble man, so he cleaned the bathrooms. You know, he's a humble guy. So
He'd probably be okay with me making that joke too.
oh, yeah.
Some people don't like that.
Some people don't like jokes.
Yeah. I like jokes.
I love
As long
jokes.
as you smile when you're saying it, then I know it's a joke. But if you're not, I'm thinking about it's like,
How can I take you out of this world?
Yeah, right?
No, listen, like, stand-up comedy is like, people have all these weird little things that they're like obsessed and super nerdy about. Stand-up comedy to me is that. Like, I plan my vacations around who I can go see for stand-up comedy.
you know who I had took a Slade Ham took a class with me,
Oh, wow.
and he's on the USO tour now still, and we still talk, and he likes to draw Batman. So he did a thing the other day. I was looking on his Instagram. He had Batman. I was like, I got an original Slade Ham Batman drawing. He's like, where'd you get that from? I was like, you drew it in a notebook, dummy. I'm like, but he's a cool guy. We had a lot of fun. We made we had a group of guys in I guess it was his brother and all the guys, these friends of theirs, and he was pretending to be Vladimir Putin and doing his Vladimir Putin voice, and I was pretending to be George. I was pretending to be W. I was doing my W voice, and we had him laughing so hard. Yeah. We did get one of the guys peed to seat, which was good. Yeah. I mean, I think it was good. I mean, if you can make somebody pee laughing.
You weren't supposed to tell anyone, Jason.
Yeah. It don't matter. It was a rental. I mean,
I'm here.
It was a rental car, bro.
It was a rental car, he said. But yeah, when you guys were in Portland for Blade Show, I was in New York, and I'm going to call my wife out a little bit here because, so we went to a show one night at a club called The Stand. It's in the East Village, and that was her first time going to a stand-up comedy show. She'd never been. She wasn't a super huge fan of it. So I was like, all right, give it one more shot. Let's go the next night. Let's go to the Comedy Cellar. World famous. I mean, just killers come through the Comedy Cellar. I think Chris D'Elia was one of the headliners. He's a California guy. Yeah. He was on deck to perform that night. But tickets were $15.
That's cheap.
She was like, they're always $15.
It's like free in New York City. That's like a free price.
So she was like, I really don't want to go. It's like, okay, whatever. I didn't push it that hard. So we went and did something else. I think we went to the Dead Rabbit. It's a pub in the financial district. The next day, I looked on Instagram, and the set at the Comedy Cellar got completely bumped because 2 individuals came in and performed for an hour and a half. One of those individuals was Most Def.
Oh, man.
The other individual was Dave Chappelle.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. A legend and another legend.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's I like to bring that one up every now and then. Just be like, you remember when you, and I have a buddy, his name's John McCord. He lives here in Kingsport. And he'll text me, just like I won't hear from him for a couple weeks, and he'll just randomly text me and be like, I can't believe Hannah made you miss Dave Chappelle.
Gotta rub salt in that wound.
I can't believe you just brought that up again. We were finally getting over it. She doesn't look that
mean, like when you see her, she looks like,
she's vicious.
Hey, I really like to go see a comedy thing with you, Ryan. You want to go see Dave Chappelle and Most Def?
No, she's vicious.
She'd be like, no. But you didn't know it was coming. I could have told you, why didn't you call me? I would have been able to.
Oh, that's true. I do need to start. Yeah, if I have questions, I need to start calling you because you know what's happening. You can tell the future.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I can tell the future. I can tell that if I do certain things, it will be bad, and if I do other things, it will be good. Yeah. That's about as
I think that's called discernment. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, discernment. Sometimes I has it.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't. What was the process of forging your crystal ball?
Well, I had to make it out of nitanium, which is kind of difficult.
That's the metal that you founded, right?
I found it in the metal, So, you know what's funny about saying that? If you take 2 different types of steel, let's just say an uneven or unmeasured amount of 15 and 20, an uneven, unmeasured amount of ADCRV2 or whatever you use, and you combine them together, and you say, this is nitanium.
Yeah.
People get pissed. They get mad.
Awesome.
They totally get mad about that. Like, you couldn't call it that. I'm like, I made it. I can call it whatever I want to. Like, why do I have to call it Damascus? Well, why can't I call it nitanium?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
do it.
Technically, it is my chemical compilation of metallurgical metal mashing mayhem all together.
Metal mashing mayhem.
And that's something I came up with that first.
You said that in the last it was the Forging Without a Power Hammer video. Metal mashing mayhem. That was funny. It stuck with me.
It's something we used to do every couple of weeks back when I lived in South Carolina. Uh-huh. It just started out as getting together. We'd have people come down. We have guest bladesmiths. They'd come from like Asheville. We have Charlie, Charles Lionheart Ellis.
Oh yeah, Lionheart Forge.
He's great. And Shelby Mihailovich. They would come from Asheville, or Bob Brandel, or we might even have someone come far away as Belik from Belgium. Oh, Sam Lurquin came one time for our metal mashing mayhem. If anyone out there, ever finds there's a shuriken, which means throwing star, and it says MMM, that's from one of our metal mashing mayhem events.
That's cool.
We had a lot of fun. And we raised money for people, and if we do an event, we'd barbecue and do all kind of stuff, and we try to once everything was paid for, we take the money that we had left over and we give it to somebody in our community who,
Nice.
you know, they might be going for cancer treatment or
It's a great outreach.
maybe they just
really
had a
cool.
broken car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could be something simple. People don't need that much reason they need some money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe they want to get a 6-pack or something. I don't know.
Hey,
They could have
I
just
appreciate
said,
that honesty.
yeah, they could have been like, man, I'm going for cancer treatment. I'm like, no, you're not. Here's the money anyway.
Yeah, I mean those signs usually get me. It's like looking for a beer, get a couple dollars. What are we getting?
The same thing.
Yeah, let's do it.
That would be fun to video. We should do a time lapse on you. Josh puts a hat on, and it just starts to go. You can feel the tension. You can watch it. It's like,
It's like when you put rubber bands around a watermelon.
yeah, it does the same thing. The hat blows
Yep,
up.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I like that.
Usually it'd be in one part.
I like that. It's a good idea.
Anti-gravity hair.
You okay with that?
I'm good with that.
You got awesome hair, bro. I wish I had that.
We
That
need to-
hair and my beard. I'd be like the ruler of the world. You know what I mean? Everybody would be like,
Some people think you already are. We need to do a video where we go fishing. We need to do that.
That'd be great.
you know what kind of fishing I have to do? I have to fish like with a fly rod or a tenkara rod or spinning rod. I gotta be doing something.
Well, here's the catch. I've never been fishing.
What?
Now we,
That-
yeah, that's
yeah.
a must.
That'd be fun.
Never been fishing. That'd be cool. I also want to do a video where we let you make a video the way we would do it.
What I want to do
give
too,
you all the equipment
what
and
would
see
be
what you come up
fun,
with.
is when our YouTube does well enough, we can just start being like on location.
Yeah.
This month we'll be on location. I want to go fishing with Dave Lish. That's what I want to do.
Okay. Cool.
I would love to go fishing with Dave Lish. We have to go all the way to Washington State somewhere
We could do it.
in a secret fishing spot. Dave would be like, "Don't tell anybody what this spot."
He's on the
is,
West
man."
Coast.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
He was at Blade Show West.
I met him,
You met
yeah,
him?
yeah.
Go hunting with Steve Ranella.
We could do that. It'd be
Cool.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the our coworkers, her husband, it's Audra. You've met her. Her husband runs a hunting show in the area. Yeah, they have it on ESPN, and they just go all these different places and do it. It's
Oh,
pretty
that's
fun.
cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
I traded a knife one time for a champion bloodline purple lab.
Purple lad.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, neither do I.
Oh, well, it was purple.
Well, I got that, but I've never seen it.
Yeah. So what was funny, I had a Benelli shotgun,
Huh?
and the puppy was a puppy. And my friends from Alaska were there, Adam and Haley DeRogers, and that dog did not know what that shotgun was, but it was just like, I don't know what that is, but I like it. She'd bark at it and look at me like, and like, you know, sometimes when you go shoot, dogs are like, oh no,
Yeah,
you
they-
shoot that dog. The dog's like, where is that?
Oh,
Where's
that's
that
cool.
going? But it was so hyper and crazy. It was like, I always call her a purple lab because her skin was purple. But this dog learned really, really quick. And she would jump off the dock, get sticks. My daughter, Tiger Lily, was really little. So Tiger Lily would sit in a wagon. I think we even have a video of it. She'd sit in a wagon. She had the dog tied up, you know, leashed up to the thing. And the dog would be ready. She'd throw a stick and the dog would just take off and she'd hold on. Wagon and the dog would go out of sight. She'd keep throwing sticks and the dog would keep going after her, and that was her mode of transportation. It was just hours of entertainment. Or she'd put her life jacket on and get in our pond and grab the dog's tail, and the dog would swim all over the pond with her. You know, it was kind of cool.
nice.
So they were entertained. You know, they found ways to entertain. Go play with the dog. You know,
Yeah.
it worked really well.
My dad used to say that they'd have to tie a stake around my neck to get the dog away from me. So, you know, good times.
He's a jerk.
He didn't really say that, but that would have been funny. That's something I'll say to my kid. That's what it is. We need to go to Noodling. You know what that is?
Noodling, yeah, I know exactly what noodling is.
Yeah, we need to do that.
You ever done it?
No,
It's
I've never
quite
been fishing. Why would I ever be
scary.
noodling?
So I grew up in the Four Holes Swamp area.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody knows noodling is when you're reaching your hand up into culverts or underneath stumps and whatever, and you're feeling around for a catfish. And ideally, you want him to kind of suck your fingers into his mouth and bite down so you can grab it. Now, it feels like this. Hold your hand out, Josh. When they turn your hand over, like, well, yeah, like this. Turn it back like that. So if they're doing it, it's just like, chomp.
Yeah.
And they're grabbing you. You got to grab them back and pull them out.
And sharp.
Yeah.
It's
Well, they're
good.
not super sharp, but they're like, it's like sandpaper.
Yeah.
It's weird. So, yeah, that's fun.
We should do that and film it. That's what we should do. Instead of my first fishing experience, let's just go noodling instead.
Okay.
Noodling.
That
I've
might
never
be a
heard
great
the
one.
term. Noodling.
There's some really funny videos on it. Like just, it's a bizarre thing. It's so intense because you can't see what's going on. It's just, you just see the person on the surface. And it's like a monster movie. And they're like reaching down below and they're like, and they get grabbed
Isn't
by
it
this catfish.
so crazy? Because you don't know what's under the water.
Oh,
So,
snapping turtles. People
snapping turtles.
Yeah, people
yeah.
get grabbed by snapping
Snapping
turtles.
turtles pretty
That
powerful.
scared me.
Yeah.
So, one of my favorite people from my hometown, I lived on a pond. I had it was about 4 or 5 acres of water. 4? 5, something like that. Somewhere between 4 and 5 acres. And I even found a dead body out there one time, which was kind of wild.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, it really was. It was because I thought someone had thrown clothes. I was like, clothes? That's a dead body. That's a dead body. I was on a 4-wheeler, but I couldn't get. I was too freaked out, so I ran back home and called the cops, and they're like, "Yeah, we know all about it." I'm like,
Well, why is this
"Well,
still
why
there?
ain't you out here?" You know.
Oh, that's weird.
So,
I feel like I've seen that movie before.
Yeah, right.
yeah. So my one of my favorite people from our town, his name is Ernest Westbury, and he has the Ace Hardware there, and like he is probably one of the most famous people who own Ace Hardwares
Nice.
in the United States. Like he runs them like it's like top notch. You go there and get anything you want. So he was telling me a story. He goes, well, one day I was out there fishing. You know, this was about sometime in the 70s, and there were all these cars out there, and you could see them back then. And the cars were, from, you know, it was from the 50s or 60s, whatever. And they just put them out there because it was habitat for fish. So Mr. Ernest is telling me, he goes, man, I hooked this fish. It was the biggest bass I'd ever seen. I could kind of see him, you know. And I'm reeling him in. And he swims right into one of them cars. And then this kind of went tight on me. And I don't think I could get him in. And I was like, wow, what do you think happened? He went in that car, went in and rolled the window up on him.
Hey, man.
The line popped, and that
I
was it.
believe
And I
it.
was just like, I was all in, and it was like, that was pretty funny. Because like he had a real dry sense of humor, and if you work for him, you have to get it.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, you'll be upset. You'll be like, Mr. Ernest is messing with me again. I was like, no, he's telling you a joke. See, it's a joke, and you're
pretty
not
funny.
getting the joke.
Roll the window up on me.
Anyway, he was great.
Crank
But that's
window
where I would
up.
go to get all my supplies for knife stuff. Like I'd be like,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny because here I'm like, I'm going to Lowe's or Home Depot, any of the big box stores, you know what I mean? And they're really irritating because
Yep.
they don't know anything, they don't care, and when you're talking to them, they act like, "What you talking about?"
Right.
You know? I go to Mr. Ernest. I'll be like, "Hey, I want this bell housing. It's like, it's like a piece of pipe. It's like this size, and then it goes down to this size. I need it to make a forge burner." He'd be like, "Okay, we got that."
Oh,
He was
nice.
like, "We got forge burners in here. What's the big deal?" He'd just take me right over there.
Wow.
He would just show me, you know, whatever it was. I need this little piece like this. What are you making? I was like, "Oh, I'm making that thing to fold space." "Oh yeah, we got all that shit
Oh,
over
yeah,
here."
of course.
You know,
Yeah.
I was like,
The
"We can fold
Nitanium.
space, no big
Yeah.
deal."
That I have the
We
Nitanium
can do a
in
lot
the
of
back.
space folding. Everybody does that. We've been doing that since I was a kid. Come here, I'll show you. So,
It's like that, you know, Parks and Rec, that show. There's a quote from Ron Swanson where he walks into Lowe's.
is that the one with Star-Lord in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The kid at Lowe's or Home Depot walks up to Ron Swanson. He's like, "Can I help you today?" And he just looks at him and goes, "I know more than you." And then walks away.
That's funny. I worked at Lowe's one time.
I don't know that we have any local hardware stores. Now that you mention that.
Ace Hardware is the best.
Yeah.
And that's like a void here. If somebody
Yeah.
said, "Hey, I want to open an Ace franchise," like if you sold gear, you could sell everything you want to, and you can sell lumber, you can sell. I mean, it's up to you, I guess. But
That's cool.
you can go get numbered drill bits in there.
I like that. I went and a couple nights ago I rewatched that Jojo Rabbit movie. We
I
were
saw that
talking
the
about
other night. I thought it was
I liked
great.
it. I liked it.
It was
And-
quite funny. I was like, how do they even make this movie without
such
people
a
freaking
Yeah,
out?
right.
fine line, man.
It was like Mel Brooks made
Yeah.
that movie. Was that the last Mel Brooks movie he made? But it was like more serious than the Mel Brooks
No,
movie.
that was so the guy that played Hitler. He was the writer and director. That's
pretty
Taika
funny.
Waititi. Yeah, he wrote the last Thor movie. Like, you know how they were super dark, and then he took it over, and then it got funny. That was him. He's a funny guy. He did a series called What We Do in the Shadows.
That was funny too.
That
I've
was him.
seen that. Yeah.
About the documentary of the vampires.
One of the things that comedy needs is the ability for people to throw the whole PC thing out.
Yes. Yep.
There's some great comedians from the past. It's kind of funny. Dick Gregory is someone who I really like. He was a comedian and a political activist. Like he was a civil rights leader and a comedian. And I mean, he's a clever fellow. He's dead now, but he was quite clever. And I still like to go back and look at stuff that Dick Gregory said, because he would say something that was true, that would shock you, but he would try to make it funny too.
Yeah, that's
and he's
that's
someone
what comedy is.
he should be respected and recognized for, he did great work, and I think it's really interesting, So we sometimes we lose that whole thing, but he was someone you took him serious.
Yeah.
And you see interviews with him later in life, like he's real serious. And he's like he's a super grumpy old man, but he had a right to be grumpy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's fascinating to me when you go back and you look at some of these folks and some of the things that they had to say and what they did. It's very important. Like we take comedy, for example. Oh, it's funny. But a lot of people get across there. Or like George Carlin.
That's exactly who I was just going to say.
George Carlin had some really cool things to say. When we bring up these people, doesn't mean I agree with everything. So anybody who I agree with it, then you're kind of silly. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? You don't agree with you don't agree with all of what anyone says, but they say great things and it makes sense and they can change your mind about
And
stuff.
they have the guts to say it.
Yeah, but like George Carlin was giving his commentary, he's talking about like your life and your situation and the way things are, and then and that's good.
Yeah.
And and then he talked about like the school system, and he goes, guess what? None of that stuff's never gonna get better. It's not designed to get better.
Yeah.
There's a special club, and guess what? You ain't
You
in
ain't
it.
in it. Yep.
And I always liked that when he said
Oh
that.
man, he was awesome.
Great
and he was,
comedian.
yeah. I don't know. I think he was pretty much a rebel, and he had his own mind about stuff. And
Oh yeah.
that's one of the biggest things we need as makers. We need to have our own mind about these things. We may be a member of a group, like I'm a member of the American Bladesmith Society.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that we are all in agreement on the details. The whole idea, the concept is to keep the art of bladesmithing alive. I'm not going to say art and science, because it's more art than anything.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a funny thing when we say science or chemistry, all that we say science. A lot of things in science will say, here's a theory or here's a fact. Just because something is labeled as a fact doesn't mean it's true.
And they always change. I mean,
Yeah.
especially in the scientific community, there's all these different discoveries and all these, like, if things were still done the way they were when bladesmithing and blacksmithing originated, there would be no progress. That's
There
the
wouldn't be
point.
any progress, right?
Yeah. It's the same thing with anything. Like if in our town, the Eastman Kodak was just that, Eastman Kodak. They produced the first film in this country.
Yeah.
And if they would have stayed at film, we wouldn't be doing this.
That's right.
Like,
we wouldn't be doing this.
Everything progresses. We would have a $80,000 film camera, and some poor intern Heath would be pushing the reels back onto the spokes. Like it's
Okay,
just not,
stop. We got to get somewhere.
Yeah, it's just not how it works.
Can you
anymore.
imagine when you go back and look at a film movie? Do you know how much work that was? It's so
how
crazy.
expensive it was.
Crazy
so
stuff.
expensive.
I mean, there's movies now that are winning awards that are filmed on an iPhone 7.
Yep. I watched Parasite last night. Have you seen that?
No,
You need to watch
Is it good?
It won Best Picture.
Is it in Japanese?
It's Korean.
Korean.
Yep.
I watch a lot of. I like stuff in different, different languages. Like, I'm trying to think when I watch Blade of the Immortal.
Okay, I've
It's
heard
an
of that.
anime. It's all in Japanese. It's subtitled, but like it's crazy. But it's good art.
Yeah.
It's like samurai culture kind of thing. But I was like, it's so good. I can't wait till they come with the next one. It's like, boom. And there's another one I watched called the Vinland Saga. It's the same
I've heard of
thing.
that,
It's all in Japanese, and like. I'm not learning any Japanese,
No.
even though I'm listening to it and reading it in English. I'm just like, but you know what? Spanish seems to be pretty easy to learn, right?
It is.
Spanish
It's
is
pretty easy.
Just
to
rattle
learn.
some up, but it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It sounds so good. Like,
Rolls off the tongue.
I know,
That's
like I
right.
know, like kitchen Spanish. That's all I've got because I
Yeah.
worked in kitchens for like 4 or 5 years, and oh my gosh, I was the only white.
You know the slang.
in the kitchen. Yep,
Yep.
I know the slang.
that's cool.
Yeah, but you need to check out that Parasite movie.
I'll
It's,
check it
it's
out.
about it's like it's a story about class. The director and writer that he's all about the different class structures. So the super upper class and then the complete lower class. He did a movie called Snowpiercer. It was on the
That
train.
was Snowpiercer was
With,
basically it's like Willy Wonka and then Snowpiercer,
100%.
right?
Yep. Yeah. So the Willy
I don't know
Wonka
if that's true,
It is.
but-
Yeah. The Willy Wonka character made this factory, and then the Snowpiercer guy made this train that survived the Ice Age. And so the back of the train is filled with the peasants, and when you get closer to the front of the train, it's filled with the upper class people.
It's really wild.
But this movie is based in like the Korean slums, and then they travel to the upper class, like where the rich people live. It's a fascinating movie. It's so good. You need to watch it.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy stuff.
It was the first Korean film. It was the first non-English film to win Best Picture.
Sometimes I'm kind of afraid to get into all these crazy subjects, you know what I mean? Because I have a lot of opinions about it. I'm looking off camera right now. But we don't know.
We can cut
so
whatever
it's-
out that we can.
It's fascinating.
That's
to
why we don't do it live.
consider. Yeah, no doubt. So, did we say why I brought Josh on here besides his cool hair?
I think so.
Folders.
Yeah, tell him. Can you talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So prior to coming out to Jason's, I hadn't made a darn thing in my life.
You can curse.
Yeah, I hadn't made a damn thing in my life. I had, by trade, gone to school to be a nurse. In November of 2018, I came out for my first time. We made a chopper, and then since then, I built my own shop.
Oh, that's awesome.
18?
Yeah, 2018.
Wow, that's wow.
That's cool, man.
yeah.
So you just dropped the normal, like you dropped your plan and just.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, everyone asks me I talk about it at work all the time. All my patients, how did you knife making? What do you? I'm like, I don't know. I just got on a plane. Someone was, humble enough to teach what they know.
That's awesome.
And since then, it's history. And then this is something that I've made in the meantime.
Oh, cool.
So,
Oh, that's gorgeous.
again, what I took away mostly from the class was it allowed me to have the confidence to go out and venture and try new things.
Of
Not
course.
only did Jason help me with that knife making aspect, but also helped me. I'm a young man with father, was able to just get out there and be confident in everything that I'm doing.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
and including the knife making.
This
So
is cool.
that's it's been quite an experience.
This one came out well.
Yeah.
And I like that no one taught you how to make a folder.
That's
You
cool.
just started
it
doing
feels nice too. It's very.
I'm gonna drill
very
some
weighted.
holes here. I'm gonna do this there. Yeah, it snaps closed, snaps
Well,
open.
the very first knife, the folder I made, I dubbed it Frankenstein because it had a bunch of holes and screws and
Nice.
stitches everywhere.
That's
Oh, yeah,
cool.
my all the folders that
Yeah,
I
good.
make, one person has all of them, and they're all like prototypes. So I'll do a folder as a prototype, and then if I really like it, I'll put it into production.
That's sick.
But they're hard.
I met
The mechanics
Jason,
are difficult.
I met Jason at the movie premiere for the Han Solo movie.
Oh, that's right.
Isn't that weird? There it is. Yep.
I was thinking
And I'm not exaggerating when I say there were about 15 to 20 people gathered around Jason. Like,
I don't remember.
yes, they were like, there's a group of people that were like, oh my God, who's
Oh,
this
yeah.
guy? And I was like, who's this guy?
Well, I was wearing my Han Solo outfit. I was totally nerding out.
That was,
Nerds out,
it was fans.
Yeah,
it was
we
crazy.
had fun.
It was weird. In this small town area, we don't get people that have fans.
Yeah, I thought that was a great movie. I don't
I
know
liked
what
it.
everybody. And I saw Star Wars when it came out the first time
Right.
in 1977. So it's like, what was everybody complaining about this movie? I don't quite get it.
Yeah. But it's like, to your point, somebody that was humble enough to share what they're learning. We just approached Jason. We're like, hey, let's make a video about what you do. And
Well,
now we're here.
You mentioned the art thing. I've studied. I've done art classes. I've done. I study martial arts. One thing that I observed watching Jason make a knife is that it's very much an art form.
Absolutely.
The way he stands, the way even like he's sounds silly, but like breathing techniques, like you're
Yeah.
doing all these things to, to try to produce something that's coming from your mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
So I say all kinds of stuff. This is the Jikindo of knife making.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
So, hey, I didn't know you remember the Spacing Guild. That's cool.
Oh, I made this.
I know. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, yeah. That was back when I was trying to get a logo for my martial arts studio.
Nice.
So
What kind of martial arts do you do?
I practice Wing Chun.
Oh, okay, cool. I am a fan of all martial arts, but I have never, well, I don't say never. I did jiu-jitsu for a little bit.
Oh, I love jiu-jitsu. It's
and
good
then
stuff.
I kept hurting myself. So
That's how it goes. It's real hard on the
yeah,
body.
yeah.
You
And
gotta be.
there's a few people around here that don't teach it in a good way. So you have to go to Asheville or Knoxville.
It's
to
about
get
the right partner too. Sometimes people just want to hurt you.
That's what it is. That's
It's
how I kept
crazy,
getting hurt.
man. It's crazy.
I'm really good at getting someone could take their fist and punch me right in the face and damaging their fist.
Yeah.
I don't
It's the
like to
beard.
do that
It's the
anymore, but
beard.
it's the beard. But I have bone density.
Well, look at the beard. It's Damascus. The beard is Damascus. There's a
I can
pattern.
swim good, but if I get in the water, I sink. But I can swim. I'm a good swimmer. I was captain of the swim team.
I believe it.
And then I figured out how to kick my legs.
Did you wear your little cap?
No, didn't have that.
You didn't need
We didn't
that.
have to wear that nonsense. Back in those days, we didn't know that was even an advantage,
Well, I think we can wrap this up. How long have we been going for? Yeah, we've been going for an hour.
Yeah.
An hour
Well,
goes by like that.
It is. I had so many other things I wanted to say about stuff I forgot to say. I hope everybody enjoys these podcasts. The whole idea is we're trying to introduce it. Like we want to bring it in. We want to
Yeah.
begin doing podcasts. We want to bring in guests. We want to have fun, bring up subject matter, and having a consistent place to have it in is the trick.
I don't even know that matters.
Probably doesn't matter. So
Yeah, I say we take it like a traveling circus.
it is a traveling circus.
That's what we
yeah.
are. We're a circus. I would, self-proclaimed.
Definitely a circus. There's no doubt about that. So maybe we'll be coming to your town.
Yeah,
Maybe
I like it.
we could do that. That would be
Yeah.
kind of fun too.
And Blade Show is going to be a unique opportunity. We talked about we'll have our two booths set up, but also one of them will be acting as a podcast station. So
That'd be great.
we'll have the fans will have an ability to interact with us. So we'll have a Q&A line set up.
That's
so
right.
at each portion of each podcast, we're going to be podcasting the whole time.
Yeah, so we're going to be really in a great spot at Blade Show. We're going to have the Forged booth, and I think we'll be right next to Patriot Blade Works,
Oh, cool.
who is friends, and they also do some work for us now, which is cool. They do some knife making for us. And we're going to be also the Night Elements booth, which would be me and AJ and the Night Elements crew, and we'll be with RMJ Tactical, and that's
Nice.
Ryan Johnson and that crew, and everybody knows who RMJ Tactical is. And there'll be a lot of other people. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm contacting some people and say, hey, would you like to be on our podcast at the Blade Show?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get the band together so we can interview some of these cats, and
And otherwise, we're just
Make
going
it
to
fun.
start grabbing people, putting a microphone.
we're gonna
on.
grab people. But we're only gonna grab the people that we want to grab.
Absolutely. And then that'll, like I said, that'll give some of the fans an opportunity that they may not normally have. They can do some intelligent Q&A. We'll have a lot of back and forth.
Yep.
We're gonna make it a thing. We're gonna have a good little event.
Now
Have
the
a fun
Goon
time.
Squad will be present with us at the Blade Show. So if any stuff starts, I don't even have to say a word. I can just be like,
I like it.
and it'll be like, you'll be beat up in the dumpster.
Well, it's because you control them with your mind. You just point them and then they
Yeah, I
just
just
end
be
up
like,
there. Yeah. These are the droids you're looking for. Yeah.
yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
I like it. All right, give him a sign off.